welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina. I am your host, and I am so excited to be here with you today to go over 3 fabulous all-in-one car seats that are sitting behind me. So what are we taking a look at? Well, we're going to look at the NUNA EXEC, we're going to look at the Perego all-in-one, and then we're going to look at the Britax One4Life Slim. So are you ready to go on this journey with me? I hope so. And remember, if you like any of the seats that we talk about in this video, head on over to my website, destinationbabykids.com, and you can buy any of them directly from me. I'll write you a little note, say, hey, how are you? But also, you want to see the colors, want more information, that would be a good place to go. Otherwise, you can check out my other videos here on YouTube. And remember, like, follow, subscribe, share. If it makes sense to share this with someone after we're done doing it, go ahead and do that, because we are going to cover so much ground in this video. There is a lot to cover. So, just going to take these cup holders out of here. What are we looking at? Okay, so this is a little off center, but I think my intention was to stand to the side, but I'll probably just stand behind it. Okay, so we have the Britax One4Life Slim. We have the Perego all-in-one car seat, and then we have the NUNA EXEC. So these 3 seats have a ton of stuff in common, but then they're also going to have some really cool differences that make them special in their own ways. At the end of this video, will we have a definitive winner? Maybe, maybe not. But remember, there's always a correct decision for every different kind of situation. So just because something might not be right for you doesn't mean that it's not right for somebody else. And that's why we really want to cover all of the things that are similar and different about these seats. Okay, so I made a chart. We're going to go over a ton of information. Go ahead and pause it, rewind it if you need to. Feel free. All right, so the One4Life Slim is $399. The Peg all-in-one is $499. The EXEC is $750. All 3 of these seats have a 10-year expiration. Now, the thing about Peg that's going to be a little bit more special is that that 10-year expiration kicks in from date of purchase, not date of manufacture. The other 2 seats is a 10-year expiration from date of manufacture. Another interesting thing is the warranty. So Peg is going to be the winner between the 3. Peg, if you buy it from my store or a local small business, not Amazon, not a big box, but a small, like a Brixie store, you get a 5-year warranty. So we love that. They offer a standard 2-year warranty, but if you're going to buy it from a little mom and pop shop like the one I own, destinationbabykids.com, head on over there. You could get this and get the 5-year warranty if you're buying it from me. So that's very exciting. NUNA offers a 2-year warranty on this seat, and the Britax One4Life Slim is a 1-year warranty. The NUNA seat, or excuse me, NUNA and Britax are both made in China now. Britax used to be made in the USA. It's not the case anymore. I think they've moved all of their production to China. NUNA is made in China, and Perego is made in Italy. So that's kind of exciting. We like to always point that out. Okay, with these 3 seats, do they all have flame-retardant-free fabric that you're looking at? Yes, they do. So none of them have the flame retardant on the fabric of the seat. So that's awesome. For all 3 of the seats, is there an anti-rebound bar or plate included? On the Peg and on the NUNA, the answer is yes. On the Britax, the answer is no. It is not included, but it is an additional $65 purchase that you could make. I would strongly encourage it. It's one of my few gripes with this seat that they don't have a more expensive version that just includes it. But again, I totally get it. I understand that they're trying to make it at a price point that's super affordable for people, which I think they've done. But the way I would buy it would absolutely be with the anti-rebound bar, and that would be an additional $65. So this is $399 or $465 if you get the anti-rebound bar version of it. Okay. The rear-facing latch limits on the Peg and the NUNA are going to be 35 pounds. On the Britax, it's 40 pounds rear-facing latch limit. All 3 of these have a 40-pound forward-facing latch limit. The rear-facing weight on all 3 of these seats is going to be from 5 pounds to 50 pounds. And so in case you don't know, all-in-one car seat means it'll be a rear-facing seat, a forward-facing harness seat, but also a forward-facing high-back booster seat as well. Should have said that at the beginning, but if you're watching this video, now you know. So when I say that all 3 of these will work from 5 to 50 pounds for little kids, They absolutely will, but these are not the style of seats that have bases that click onto strollers. These stay mounted in the car, and they are all one unit. There are no bases for any of these seats that you're looking at. So yes, they all rear face from 5 to 50 pounds. They all forward face up to 65 pounds. They all have a different starting weight recommendation for when you would be able to forward face. So for instance, the One4Life, I think, encourages the best behavior for parents, saying that they have to be at least 30 pounds to forward face in this seat. That's forcing them to do a longer rear facing in this guy, which is brilliant. The peg is gonna start at 26.5, and then the NUNA is 25. So again, we would encourage you to leave them backward as long as they can sit in the seat and as long as the seat can tolerate it for weight and height. It is 80% safer to sit in a car seat backward than it is forward. It doesn't matter what car seat we're talking about in the United States. Of course, we start getting into other technologies from other areas that could change. But again, for a US seat, and almost all car seats that you do look at, for I would say at least like 75% of them, with the way that they're built, a rear facing orientation is going to be 80% safer than a forward face. Okay. Height limits on all of these seats. And you're like, whoa, I thought I just had to worry about a weight limit. No, you have to worry about a height limit too. And this is really important because children will always get to the height of stuff before they get to the weight limit. And I shouldn't say always. Do you have a kid that got to the weight before the height? Leave a comment below. But like in 20 years of doing this, 99.9% of kids, I don't even think I can remember a time when a child outweighed a seat before they got to a height limitation. Okay, so the height limits on all these seats are 49 standing inches, 49 standing inches for NUNA and the exec, or the NUNA exec and the One4Life are both 49 standing inches for forward facing and rear facing. For the peg, it's a 47-inch rear facing and a 49-inch forward facing. We'll talk about that rear facing thing and when we get to the quirks section of this video, but for right now, we won't worry about it too much. And then for your height limits for the booster seat, on all of them, it's at least 4 years old. The peg is 4 years old, 40 pounds, 39 to 63 inches. The One4Life is gonna be 44 inches, 4 years old, up to 63 inches, and then the exec is 38 inches to 57 inches, starting at 4 years old. And we would not encourage starting any of these as a booster with a 4-year-old. That is the minimum that you would theoretically be able to do that. But again, a 5-point harness, safest is backward, next safest is forward facing in a 5-point harness with that top tether attached. And then beyond that, we would go into combination seating ideally, which these sort of hit, and then also belt positioning booster for beyond that. Okay, rear facing torso length. On your One4Life Slim, you get 19 inches of seated torso height in rear facing mode. Holy cow, A+, gold star. There is no seat on the market that is more accommodating for big-bodied kids than this one. It's really important that they have a nice long seated torso height, because if we're talking about encouraging best practice, which is leaving them rear facing for as long as possible, having them be able to not only gain weight in the seat, but physically get larger from a torso perspective as they get older and older, the Britax does that exceptionally well. So A+ for that. Peg, I have a little bit of a bone to pick with this. The rear facing torso harness height is only 14 inches. Now, thankfully on the back of the seat, there is a clear indicator. It says, it reads, doesn't say, it reads maximum height in rear facing, which is right there, that red line. So what that means is that once your kiddo's head gets too long and you would need to move that headrest up, you're not going to be able to for the full length of the seat. You'll get more seated torso height in the seat forward facing than you do rear facing. But why would you offer a 50-pound rear facing seat that only has a 14-inch seated torso height? And then they also do this on the Kinetic as well. So that was a bit of a bummer. Not my favorite for extended rear facing. So if you're like average height or small, this will not be a problem. If you are tall, have a tall spouse, have really long-bodied people in your family, that would be something to be more cognizant of when you choose this seat versus the other two. And that's really the biggest drawback with this guy that I found. And I would be remiss not to point it out. It is an incredible seat. I still love this seat. I would still totally get this seat, but just something to be aware of. I'm short, so again, I'm like on my tippy toes trying to talk to you guys. Wouldn't be the biggest issue for me, but my best friend whose kid is enormous, he's off the charts tall, he'd already be outgrown with this one, and he's 2 years old and 4 months in a rear-facing mode. He would still fit into the seat, no problem, forward-facing. Okay, so the exec is gonna have 18 inches of rear-facing seated torso height. So rear-facing and forward-facing on this guy is 18 inches. Forward-facing torso height on these guys, Britax is 19 inches, NUNA is 18 inches, and the peg is 18 inches. So that's relatively similar. Now, when we talk about all-in-one, all of these seats have these infant pads, but I'm gonna go ahead and lengthen the harness on all three of them, just so you guys can see that, and I don't know how clear it is, but all three have on the headpiece belt guides for booster. So what that means is that when you're using it as a booster seat, these harness and this internal stuff all tucks into the interior of the seat so you never lose it. And they all have very clear instructions on that, so good work for all three companies. But you have a belt guide where the shoulder belt would go. These are only boosters that will work with a shoulder belt as well as a lap belt. You can't use them with just a lap belt. So you have shoulder belt guides on either side because, you know, depending on where the seat is, the shoulder could come from either direction. So your booster torso height is 21 and a half, 19 and a half, and then 19 on the exec. The interior width of the seat. So with the One4Life Slim, it's 11.5. The peg is the widest interior at 12, and the exec is gonna be 10.5 inches. The seat depth, so that's how deep the seat pan is. Your Britax is gonna be 13 inches, the peg is 12, and then the NUNA is cool because it's 11 all the way up to 14 because they have an extendable foot plate here that also acts as an anti-rebound bar. So if you're thinking about depth with like a long-legged kid in a booster, kind of a nice feature that this one is adjustable. So we do love that. And also for rear facing, it means it fits in really nice and tight. And I do have a video installing all of these in a car that you could also check out. So I'll publish that later. Okay, so the lower buckle spots. So they all have adjustable buckles with the exception of this guy in the center. The peg only has one buckle position, and that buckle position is 5 inches away from the back of the seat. So something to be aware of there. If it's an all-in-one seat, it's more atypical that it wouldn't have multiple lower buckle positions. Britax has three. Their positions are going to be at 4, 6, and 7 1/4. Here again, we have one buckle position down here, and the depth on that is 5 inches. And then the NUNA has two buckle positions, either 4 inches or 6 inches. So as they get bigger, you can adjust that out, which is really helpful. All three of them you buckle closest to, but not under the child. Again, that's for these two. This guy in the center, there's one buckle position, so you can't screw it up, which is actually pretty great. Now, when we turn these into a booster seat, are you able to do both latch and top tether? You can with the Britax. On the NUNA and on the peg, the indications in the book state lower anchor only as for a placement holder so that they don't become a projectile in an accident. But Britax is more unique in that you're able to use it as a booster with the top tether attached as well. And they do a really nice job being clear about that in the book. Can you have overhang on any of the seats? In booster mode, all three of them no, but on Britax, they do explicitly state in the manual you can have 3 inches of overhang in forward or rear facing installation, which is super helpful. I should get clarification on the other two, but I do think it's important to point out that in the manual, very, very clear from Britax, so we love that. All right, head positions. The exec has 12 different head positions. This is, I think, generally a very stupid thing to care about, because it's like, how tall does it go? How many different stops on the train? Okay, 12 stops on this train. This train has 15 stops. Great. The thing about PEG that's specifically interesting is that there are 12 positions, but only position 1 through 8 can be used in that rear-facing mode. And again, because you can't make it too tall, so the 9, 10, 11, 12, those positions can be used in forward-facing, but not in rear-facing. So something to be aware of there on that specific model. They all have a bunch of different reclines. The Britax is more limited in that the booster seat mode only has one position. Your booster seat for your PEG will have 4 different booster positions, and your booster exec will also have 4 different positions. You know, if you have a kid sleeping and you want to like recline that, that's kind of a nice feature. But you know, in general, the Britax, it's just the one position, and that seems to be generally fine. There's multiple different recline positions too. So there's 8 positions of recline on the Britax, there's 6 on the PEG Perego, and then on the NUNA, there's 8. The thing is, you only get a certain number of reclines in either forward or rear-facing mode, so this is sort of like a moot point. They all have adjustable recline for backward and for forward. That's the main thing to sort of realize, and all of them have very clear indications on the side of the seat, specifically where the seat needs to be reclined for the different age of your child. So they do a nice job with that being clear. The width of each seat, let's talk about that. The PEG is the widest, 18.75. Then the NUNA is going to be 18.5. The Britax is going to be the narrowest at 17.5. Britax also gets an additional gold star from me because they're the only one of these 3 where you can have your cup holders installed on the seat while it's 3 across. So with the other 2 seats, if we're doing a 3 across scenario, you absolutely would lose the cup holder unless you're like driving a 2004 LeSabre, the world's widest car. For a normal car, you would absolutely lose that ability to use the cup holders. So with the placement of where the cup holders go on the Britax seat, you take these pieces off and they would go there. It's really fabulous. You can still use the cup holders with your children in 3 across. So pretty sweet. Okay, and again, you get 2 cup holders with Britax, 1 with PEG Perego, and 2 with NUNA. The NUNA ones are built onto it, which is nice so you don't lose them. The weight of each seat, the One4Life Slim is 28, the PEG is 25.5, and then the NUNA is 26.5. So that covers all the things that are relatively similar and all the basic stuff about these guys. What I do want to say is the quirks really quickly. So PEG, again, has the longest warranty, but the shortest rear-facing torso harness height. The one crotch position is kind of awkward. I will say that this has the best information in the book about booster seats and when to transition into booster. They have beautiful clarity and language about that. It's some of the best I've ever seen in a manual, so I really want to give them props for that. That's on page 14 and 15 of the manual for this book, which is pretty excellent. To achieve the proper rear-facing recline here, you could use a pool noodle if you needed to, so that's something that I saw in the book as well. And again, all 3 of these seats you would replace in a moderate to severe crash. All 3 of these seats will have in their booklet what that means explicitly. Crash information for this seat is on page 70 of its manual. On the exec, the crash information, I think, is on page 18, and then for the One4Life, the crash information is on page 5. One4Life, quirks. Oh, the tri-stage cushion here, the cushion set in it, parts 1 and 2, which is the head and the middle part, those come out after 14 pounds, and then the lower part is coming out after 26.5 pounds. You can only use these pieces in rear-facing mode. The pieces I just took out of this Britax, those are, again, for rear-facing only. They may be used between 5 and 20 pounds. If you're going to use the head piece, you have to use the middle body piece with that, so just something to be aware of, a little quirk. I'm trying to think. It's annoying to me that the rebound bar is not included with this, so again, we did discuss that. I like that the booster seat instructions are very clear here. I like that it is the most realistic to actually have a big-bodied kid in. And like, that's the whole point, right? We're asking parents to do what's best practice, and Britax probably hits that note the best, just in terms of the way they physically make the seat for bigger bodied children. Oh, and also they have a lot of great accessories. All of their accessories are crash tested with their seats. This is huge for me. If you have a mirror that you got on Amazon and it's not crash tested and it comes flying off and hits your kid in the face in an accident, that's really horrifying. And if I make accessories and I don't make car seats, I'm actually not obligated to test them with anything. But if I make a car seat and I also make an accessory, I do have to test them together. So Britax makes a little insert for going pee. They also have the mirror. They have all kinds of cool accessories and they are all crash tested. So we do love to point that out. We talked about the quirks here with the peg. And then the NUNA quirks are, I mean, very little. The NUNA, my only gripe with is that the booster seat information in the manual is poor. They don't really give a lot of guidance onto sort of like how to and when it's time to move a kid to a booster. Another little quirk is that the crotch and some of the interior padding, so like these harness pieces, they have to be used in rear facing mode. The infant insert here is for 4 to 11 pounds. It'll come out after that, but NUNA does come with the most stuff. It's $750. My floor model right now is missing the little belly pad piece, which looks like this, but you'll get this whole extra bag when you buy a NUNA. So you get this, you get an extra set of shoulder harness pieces and hip pieces. And again, you are supposed to use that in rear facing mode the entire time. You get an extra head piece. That can come out or be used at any point, which was very clear in the manual. You get this sick thing, which we're gonna talk about. And then you also get a full infant body piece. And if you notice, this material is different than the material on the seat, the way it was just now. That's GOTS certified organic cotton. So if you have a kiddo with like sensitive skin, eczema, something to be aware of there, that they offer that for this seat. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this off just to show, because I am obsessed with this. It comes with a seat liner. Have you ever thought, gosh, I wish there was just a piece I could put under their butt that would catch all the crumbs and little spills, and then I could take this out and wash this? Yes. And you know what? NUNA says, we hear you, sister. We're gonna make it for you. And the nice part is too, it's relatively easy to put on, and all of this stuff lines up perfectly for it, so you're not having to do stuff that's difficult or cumbersome in order to make this work for you. This is so awesome. So now I've got, and then, you know, I would make it perfect. And I probably haven't done this totally perfectly, but the point of the story is that it does include a crash tested liner that they would be able to sit in. And again, I'm from Minnesota, so boots, snowy feet, dirty feet, all here. This part gets dirty, we can take it off and wash it. And then when people are like, I don't know if I should get a light khaki color, you can do that because you have the liner, which is so awesome, and you have all the extra sets of materials. So if you lose a piece, you can just dig into the bag and get the piece that you lost and replace it immediately. Or again, if the value is having it be the GOTS certified organic cotton, we do understand that. This will also have merino wool blended into the material, so it's gonna help wick moisture away from the body. The textile set on the NUNA is without question the best of the three. It's the nicest feeling material for sure. Then the peg will be the next nicest. This color does not do it any favors. This is called Mercury. They offer a black leather called Licorice. I am sold out right now, but if I had had that, believe me, that's what I would have put on camera. They also offer a black and gray kind of combination color called Crystal Black. Britax comes in 4 colors. Parchment, which is a tan, Raven Black, which is what you see here, which is a two-tone, Seafoam, which is green two-tone, which is really pretty, green blue, and then Mineral Gray, which is a gray two-tone similar to this, but they don't have anything just like solid black or solid gray, which I think is like, okay, I get it, but very frustrating. And then with the Exec, we have Biscotti, which is shown, Caviar, which is black, Granite, which is gray, Oak, which is the tan color, on sale right now on my website, so you could head over there and check it out. And then Riveted, which is a black with chocolate leather piping. Honestly, my all-time favorite color they've ever made is Riveted. It is sick. Okay, So check out my video of how to install these if you're curious about like the ins and outs, the movements and the mechanisms. They all have great harness movements, so that's not gonna be an issue, but installation, definitely there will be some quirks and different things about them. What are my thoughts? Okay, overall, your strongest value for dollar, if you're looking for just one seat, seriously, and you wanna get in at the lowest price point for the safest, would be the Britax One4Life Slim and buying that anti-rebound bar. Now, when you start adding accessories, it is gonna get up there, but it is an awesome choice because it really lets the kiddo grow physically the largest in it. If you're like, hey, you know what? I really need the best warranty and customer service because I'm kind of a catastrophe and so is my kid, the Peg is gonna be your best choice. They have, without question, the best customer service. It's the most bespoke of the 3 brands here. They have a very small and dedicated loyal customer service team. Britax customer service is great too, and so is NUNA's. But I will just say Peg, being a smaller company, generally can get to people a little bit faster. So if that's a value to you, then this would be a great decision. And again, the black leather, you can't touch it as far as style. It's so gorgeous. Okay, and then Exec would just be hands down the best to use. And I know I'm gonna catch heck from the other 2 brands because I have friends with both of them, but the rollers and the harness are the easiest. I feel the installation here and on the Britax are for sure easier than the Peg. This I really, really like just because of everything that comes with it and how stylish it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but I do. And I like that the rebound bar is built into it. And I also think the body parts are accommodating enough for bigger bodied kids, not the largest kids in the world, but certainly much more accommodating than what you get with this in terms of that rear facing weight limit and height limit. Not weight limit, the height limit. Okay, so hopefully that answers some questions. If you guys have any, feel free to leave them below. Which all-in-one do you think would make the most sense for you? I would love to hear about it. And again, check out my video of installing them. We'll be able to see sort of the depth of them installed rear-facing in a car because I'll do them backward, I'll do them forward. We'll talk about the installation quirks and get more feedback on that. All right, thank you so much for watching. I know this was a long one, but battle of the all-in-ones, we got through it. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and if you want to buy any of these, head over to my website, destinationbabykids.com. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and see you in the next video.